My name is Rachel Moore, and I am presenting my part 3 of my personal reflection from interviewing a social worker, who is Stephanie Blue. Now, who is Stephanie Blue as a social worker? She got her bachelor's degree in social work through UNCP, the University of North Carolina of Pembroke. She currently works as a social worker too, and the titles that she has are Pregnancy Care Manager and Care Coordinator for Children. She also is working currently at the Moore County Health Department, and she's been working there for about 14 years out of the 20 years experience that she has as a social worker. As I said, what makes her qualified is that she has her bachelor's in social work, and she had 5 years of experience previously before her roles currently in Child Protective Services with the Moore County Department of Social Services. What does she do daily? Well, she makes home visits to clients such as expecting mothers or mothers that have had their children up to 5 years old. She also visits doctor's offices to see patients and clients, and helps with administering transportation to and from those doctor's appointments if the mothers are struggling with getting to and from the doctor's appointments. She also makes telephone calls. She assists clients in completing paperwork for needed services such as Medicare, transportation. It actually should be Medicaid. Yes, Medicaid, transportation, daycare services, follow-up with children and their parents. So to go more in more detail about that, she follows up with birth to 3 who are at risk or birth through 5 years old who have been diagnosed with developmental delay or a disability, and provide case management for the children and their families. She also gathers information after completing an assessment about all enrolled children and document the needed services. She is also responsible in the assessment and ongoing evaluation of each client, and works together with the family to plan and develop early intervention services along with the CDSA to address the changing need for the family and the child. She also does service plans completed once an assessment is done, addressing the strengths and weaknesses of the child and the family. She also works with high-risk maternity patients and provide case managements to them. Once an assessment is complete with a client, she develops goals that both patient-driven and care manager-driven. She is frequently contacted by OB providers to ensure clients' needs are being met, and she also assists with completing applications such as Medicaid and food stamps, and follow up the DSS to ensure that the client is receiving services that they are entitled to. And her goals with the client are reviewed monthly and updated as needed. And these are, again, the breakdown of her follow-ups, which is birth to 5 years old for at-risk children, developmental intervention, so assisting them if they have a disability, high-risk maternity, case management, and advocate for the patients and the clients. So one thing I asked is if she considers herself as an advocate. She does. She's not only an advocate for the children, but she's also an advocate for the parents and the families as well, in assisting them with the needs that they need, so that way they're met. So micro, meso, and macro. So she describes herself as more working with the micro population, and that is because she works in a area of children from birth to 5 years old that are receiving Medicaid. Now, Ms. Blue handles clients on a macro level, which is obtaining different services for the client and also helping the needs of the family for both the child and the mother. Guidelines and who writes them. So all the policies and guidelines that are needed, they are all administered through the government, and this is through the the Department of Human Health and Services of North Carolina. They set the state guidelines for both programs and the local policies that are set by the county and are more strict than the state. The county wants to make sure that all the programs measures are exceeded locally, or the county will lose funding. So it's very important that they follow the guidelines and policies that are put in place, because they want to make sure that they get the funding that they need in order to provide the services that these families need and to be able to obtain them, and that there's enough for them to be able to obtain, because if the funding goes away, then they're unlikely to assist a lot of these mothers and newly mothers. And so yeah. Is it hard or easy? Well, she states here that she has problems at times letting situations that patients are in get to be personal and not putting a wall up between her and her patients. She at times finds herself getting too close to the families she serves or wanting to help them personally. She expressed to me that she has in the past purchased items for her clients like milk and diapers, even though she knows that it's a big no-no, but it is hard to not help a hungry child or a single mom that is struggling and stepping away knowing that they're not going to have any food or, diapers to help them when she leaves the situation. She also stated that you have to learn it's something you have to learn the hard way. It's not something that you can say, well, I'm never going to do that. But the thing is that she's done that before, but she's learned the hard way that she can't help everybody. She can do the tasks that she's assigned as a social worker, but she can't personally, provide the milk, the diapers, and everything for these clients. She says, yes, you will have days when you go home and cry and pray, but remember that your personal family needs you. It took her years before she was able to leave at work. And so the way she's describing this is that you do so much in your position, but when you leave the office, when you turn off your office phone, that you need to leave that at home, at work, and you need to take care of your family as well, and creating those natural boundaries, so then that way you're not getting exhausted. Conclusion. So my take on this is that what she says is many days are very rewarding. Yes, you personally can help a family and make a difference, and your patients really do appreciate you. So my conclusion with all this is it's hard work, and I can see that. It's not just hard work on the admin side of everything, making your phone calls, doing the paperwork, assessing the clients, but it's also being able to step away and know that you can't fix everybody's problems. You can help them by getting them the correct services that they need, and that's probably going to be the biggest way you can help these families. And it's learning to have those boundaries and those walls so that way you don't get empathic fatigue. And just being that light for those clients, even though they're in a tough situation, just by you being there as a social worker helps them to see the light in the long run. And by filling out those applications for those food stamps and filling out those applications for Medicaid, to be able to get the health care benefits that they need, or subsidized daycare so that the mother can go to work. All those little things can turn into big things for them to move forward, and hopefully they can then get off the system and then they can strive on their own. So that is my presentation about Stephanie Blue, who is a social worker at the Department of Health Services through Moore County. And thank you for your time. I hope you have a wonderful day.